Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mike's Garage. Listen, I wanted to tell a quick story about downtown Saigon. We did get to get down there a couple times. You get a pass on a Sunday. It was probably the only day we had off. We got a permission slip, if you will, to leave the base. So four of us piled in a Jeep. Now, we did take a Jeep because it was easier to park. It was easier to maneuver around in the city too, because there was a lot of small vehicles, a lot of traffic, a lot of foot traffic. But I did want to tell you a story about that. So we went down there. We're going to go shopping. I'm going to slide over to the side here and show you some pictures from 1970 downtown Saigon. These we drove downtown. The MPs, you got to show your permission slip before you're allowed to leave the base. Then when you get downtown, you look for a place to park. Now, they didn't really have what they called a green zone like they did over in Afghanistan, but it was the same thing there. That's where the radio station was. That's where Adrian Cronauer broadcast from. And I think Pat Sajak was over there too. He was one of the DJs at the time. I forget what radio show he had. But that's where everybody from that side and the upper brass was all downtown Saigon. And there's a lot of nice restaurants and stores and shops and nightclubs around there. And so we got to get down there a couple times. Didn't really take any weapons with us. It was pretty safe. There were areas where you were not allowed to go. We wore our jungle fatigues. We weren't allowed to leave the base in casual civilian clothes. We didn't really have any anyway. So went downtown, got down there, found our way down. Now there's no GPS. You just go by a map or word of mouth about where to go, what landmarks to look for. We did find our way down. So we parked. We went around. They had a lot of street vendors. You really didn't want to eat anything from the street vendors, at least not an American. You weren't really used to that kind of cooking or prepared. A couple guys did buy stuff from a street vendor. They were okay. A couple guys got sick over the year I was there. So you stayed away from the street vendor. You went to one of the Americanized restaurants if you wanted to get something to eat. We were really kind of out of place, though, with jungle fatigues on. A lot of guys had civilian clothes. Even the Americans had civilian clothes. It was pretty dressy downtown. A lot of the women and the guys were dressed up. They weren't like in typical kimonos and things like that you saw in the little villages. It was more of an upscale kind of a place. You can go to a tailor shop down there and get a suit. I think suits were like $35 for a three-piece suit. You just picked out the material. You went back in a week, picked it up. They fitted you for it. A couple things. I got a camera down there, 35 millimeter camera. And the only thing I have left from it is the thing for the film. 35 millimeter film. That one says Vietnam. This one says Vietnam, Saigon. So it was pretty neat. Little souvenirs I kept from down there. Don't have the suit anymore. Doesn't fit me. A lot of the other stuff I don't have. So we went down there, did some shopping, had something to eat, hung around for a while, saw some sights. Everything was really decorated, really nice, and had a lot of really nice nightclubs, which we heard about. So we were not really allowed into nightclubs in jungle fatigues. You had to have civilian clothes. And we made a mistake that one of the guys we had with us was Dan Durson from Oklahoma. And he had a cattle ranch. His family had a cattle ranch. And everybody had kind of a nickname there. So his nickname was Cowboy. Now, we didn't know it, but the word cowboy in Vietnam is the same as, like you would say, gangster in the United States at that time. So he would be on the other side of a store, and one of the guys says, "Hey, cowboy, look at this." So the owner of the store wanted to know who was the cowboy, because this guy's like a gangster. And so he came over and he wanted to know what didn't want us in there because he's a cowboy. I said, no, it's just a nickname. He has cows on it, and he didn't want to hear it. He just wanted us out of there. I did buy a couple antique. I bought a teak elephant that I sent to my sister. Bought some other jewelry and things for my girlfriend. Opal ring was really nice. The jewelry store was there, really cheap. I thought so. I think it's a good opal too. We still have it. So that was one of the things we did down there. Like I said, the nightclubs and the nightlife down there. Uh, lots of pretty girls, lots of good bands, things like that. We did stand outside and hang out for a while. Like I say, we're kind of out of place. Everybody who was American or from another country that was not Vietnamese was dressed all in civilian clothes. So that made it difficult really to do anything. And we didn't feel like spending the money and trying to get down there and hang out all night because you really had trouble getting back into base late at night. So we just hung out for a little while, drove down Highway 1 back to Long Bend, got back on the base safe, and we had a good time. It was actually pretty nice down there. You kind of forgot about where you were, just like you were in a different country. Reminded me a lot of Bangkok, Thailand. Was pretty similar. Everything was all clean and painted nice, I guess just for the tourist part of it. So that's one of the experiences we had over there, one of the pleasant experiences. You know, I sit here and I tell stories about fun things we did or different things we did. That was a few of the times. Most of the time, you just worked hard. You were exhausted at the end of the day. You got woken up with a rocket attack or something like that, or you'd hear a flare go off. You see a flare go off and some gunfire on one of the perimeters. Different things like that just reminded you where you were and how scary it was really to be there. So I hope that was all helpful, not helpful, but entertaining. Did want to tell you the story. I have a few more stories I'm trying to get some pictures together for. It was a lot of fun. The military really wasn't that bad. There was a lot of guys that were in there for a long time. They made a career out of it. And I guess if you got nothing going on in your hometown, like the guys from Missouri, those twins I told you about, not a place to go. Sorry for rambling on. Okay, thanks for watching Mike's Garage, and we'll see you next time. Be safe. Bye.